Hello friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's start our video with a story in which our OP battles a nightmare boss and company policies just to take a vacation. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Give well in advance notice for vacation? You got it. Background. I had graduated with a master's in engineering degree in the USA. As an international student, I had 90 days to find a job or leave the country. So when I received my first job offer, the only in 2 months, I was very excited and took it to stop the 90-day countdown. This job was paid minimum wage and was several levels below my qualifications as a master's degree holder. During this job, which I had for about 9 months, a few of my vacation requests were denied with the reason given, not enough notice. As this company relied on having inspectors available for emergency projects, the company relied on keeping inspectors employed without pay till a project was called in by a client. They would have inspectors at home without pay rather than them being on vacation. I needed vacation. It was month of October to celebrate my girlfriend's birthday. This time I'd wised up and asked for vacation 1.5 weeks earlier. The week I needed vacation, I followed up with my supervisor. He checked with the project manager, who proceeded to tell me the request was denied as I didn't give enough notice and also didn't follow up earlier so they could make arrangements for my replacement. I didn't get the day off to spend with my girlfriend. She was sad, but mostly okay. But to make up for the birthday, we decided to take a long vacation in December, 2 weeks long, to fly to the West Coast. Cue malicious compliance. I filled and sent my December vacation request in October to my supervisor and project manager. I copied the scheduler and a couple other supervisors in the area who I was assigned to from time to time. I made sure to follow up every week or two till my December vacation. I hardly got any responses, while some responses said it's still far out and they will check when my vacation comes closer. Being sure my plan would work this time, we booked the flight, car, and hotels and Airbnb for our vacation by end of November. December rolls around, I make sure to check verbally and by text message with my supervisors about my vacation request and remind them I show them the vacation request and the emails I'd sent. All say they'll check, but no one came back to me about the same. By this time, I'd been promoted to team leader and would have a direct line of communication with the project manager when I was acting supervisor. I would casually slip inquiries about my vacation in phone conversations and in emails when it related to my vacation time frame. December 20th, 2 days before vacation, the company was spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on retraining its entire workforce. They scheduled my training during my vacation. Yes, everyone knew trainings were going on, but you didn't get put on the list till and weren't notified till a few days earlier. I reached out to my project manager and informed him about the vacation I was going to take and couldn't attend the training. He was furious, yelling on the phone that he never received my vacation request and I have no option but to attend the training. To which I say I put the request 2 months in advance and that I even emailed him about the same. He mentions I never followed up and that I cannot take the vacation. I mentioned the follow-up emails, the texts, the over-the-phone conversations, and my follow-ups with other supervisors and the scheduler. He says he'll get back with me and hangs up the phone. I immediately open the work laptop and, which I now had as I was promoted, and forward the email conversations. I get a call from the scheduler. He was angry as well and says that never assume a vacation request to be approved only because you submitted it earlier, to which I mentioned the email from project manager I received in October, which stated the vacation request needs to be submitted well in advance and needs to be followed up to be granted. He says my chances of getting the vacation are very slim and I should better attend the training as only trained staff will be kept employed. Then he hangs up. I get a call from my project manager about 15 minutes later, who's calm by now, asking me to cancel my vacation. My girlfriend by this point was furious and heartbroken at the same time. I assure her we will be going on this vacation even if it means I have to quit my job. She wasn't thrilled with that either, as this would mean the 90-day counter to get a job would resume and we won't be able to enjoy the vacation. To my project manager, I say canceling my vacation means canceling all the flight bookings and all reservations. He goes back in rage mode, saying how unprofessional I was and that I should have never made reservations till the vacation got approved. In my mind, whatever, dude, last-minute reservations cost too much to afford and are never convenient. He says he'll call me back. 30 minutes later, he'd made arrangements for my training to be in the next class, which was tomorrow, 2 days till vacation. It was accommodation, food, travel, everything, paid training. I agree, go to the training, get paid for 8 hours for both days of training, free food and everything. Training venue is 150 miles away. They pay us 45 cents per mile. Come back and go on vacation. During the vacation, I get calls from other schedulers and supervisors to show up at some client, which didn't need to, but I answered just to get their reactions. Some of them were salty and said they'll check with the project manager that I might have to cut my vacation short. I let them know I'm across the country, and if they're willing to pay for my losses in flight, I would do that. Knowing the company didn't need me that much, I knew they wouldn't go for it. Some of my supervisors told me to enjoy and they'd take care of stuff there. I quit in January. This is a problem with so many companies in the U.S., it's ridiculous. They give you the vacation time but never let you take it and generally work to actively prevent you from ever using it. And our second story. Go back on your word for a 100-pound promise? Lose a 40K pound sale. Several years back, I was looking to buy a new car, something a bit faster and more fitting for my love of driving. While looking around, I was genuinely pricing up a new Civic Type R instead of saving for a deposit on a house. This is when I came across a local dealership who had a heavily modified Fiesta ST2. It's a small local dealership run by one guy who mostly acts as a sort of sales broker for people struggling to sell privately. I contacted the dealer and arranged a test drive during my lunch break that week. I got in, and as it started up, a warning popped up on the dash saying, "Tight pressure sensors not installed." I queried this with the dealer, and he said not to worry and it would be sorted out by the time I bought the car, as it had just come in and they hadn't been able to do their usual touch-ups. Fair enough, on with the test drive. I pretty much fell in love within 5 minutes and, long story short, traded my old car in to buy it a few weeks later. When I came to collect the keys, I got in the car, and what do you know, the same warning messages come up. I turn the car off and head back inside to talk to the dealer, and he claims he never agreed to that, and it's only £100 to get them installed, and gave me the contact details for a local garage. He only said he'd get them installed verbally, so I didn't have any proof. Needless to say, I was pissed. Over the next 4 years, I loved the car, got the sensors installed, and told everybody that story and to stay clear of him, as he's a liar and generally doesn't treat you well after he's got your money. At the 4-year mark, I was once again looking for a new car, as I'd definitely outgrown the Fiesta. This time I was in the market for an Audi RS3 2018 or newer with a budget of around $40K. I checked all the local dealerships, but none of them had anything like that except for the same dealership I bought the Fiesta from. I contacted them about it and once again arranged a test drive. Went on the test drive, had a good time, but honestly wasn't 100% sold. He asked me what I thought, and I lied and said I loved it, apart from the silver trim on the front. To nobody's surprise, he said he could get that changed if I agreed to the sale today. I couldn't hide the massive grin on my face when I said, "No thank you, I've heard that one before from you," and that turned out to be a lie. There was a moment of confusion, followed by an obvious realization with a hint of regret. I left without buying the car, despite his best efforts trying to cut me a deal as an apology. The fact was, I simply didn't want to give this guy my money. I went to another dealership and ended up buying a brand new A35, which I've still got to this day and absolutely love. And our next story. Is it illegal for me to sit in my car in my driveway? So I had a strange encounter with law enforcement over the weekend. I was driving home from a friend's house and was listening to a podcast while I drove. As I pulled into my driveway, the podcast was almost over, about 15 minutes, and I wanted to finish it, so I put the car in park per usual and sat back and finished listening and lit a cigarette. I know that's kind of weird to just be sitting in my car, but it never crossed my mind as illegal. Suddenly, a patrol car was driving down the street, turned around, and parked behind my driveway, blocking me in. No lights or anything, just parked. He approached, and I rolled my window down all the way, and he asked what I was doing. I explained, and he started looking into my back window, and then asked if I had anything illegal in the car. I tell him no, I'd just gotten home, hadn't been drinking or anything, and was convinced he was going to make me step out of the car. He then said I needed to go inside because what I was doing is deemed as suspicious behavior and he could cite me next time if it happened again. I asked if my audio was too loud and he said no, but you can't just be sitting in your car like this. Go inside. Your car's running and you don't have a seatbelt on, so I could technically cite you now for that alone. Don't do this again. So I turned the car off, went in, and he left. I want to know, I don't live in a bad neighborhood. The most I've ever interacted with law enforcement was a stop sign ticket 11 years ago. It may be suspicious, but suspicious is not a crime or violation. And our last story. Told my neighbor to destroy everything he built on my property. When my grandfather gave me his house, it felt like a dream come true. The place was on the other side of the state, so I hadn't visited in over 2 years. But now, with my plans to build a pool, put up a shed, and improve the garden, I was ready to start making it my own. When I arrived yesterday, I was shocked to find something I never expected, a small house and a playground sitting right in the middle of my property. I could see kids' toys scattered around, and the whole setup looked like it had been there for a while. I found the neighbor who was outside playing with his kids and decided to have a conversation. When I asked him what was going on, he looked a little surprised, but quickly explained. I thought no one lived here, he said. The place has been empty for over a year, and I figured it was abandoned, so I built this little house and playground for my kids. They love it here. I tried to stay calm, but couldn't believe what I was hearing. You thought it was abandoned? I asked, raising an eyebrow. So you just decided it was yours? You didn't think to check with anyone? He scratched his head and shrugged. Well, yeah, I mean, it's not like anyone was using it. I figured it wouldn't be a big deal. I looked around at the playground. It's a big deal now because I'm here and I've got plans for this space. You can't just build on someone else's property and act like it's fine. He chuckled nervously and tried to play it cool. Come on, man, it's just a playground for my kids. What's the harm? They're having fun. I can pay you for the land if that's what you want. I'm not selling it, I said firmly. I didn't come all the way out here to sell off pieces of my property. You've got to move it. His face fell and he crossed his arms. Really? You're going to make me tear this down after all the work I put into it? My kids are used to it now. It's practically theirs. I shot back. Well, it's not theirs. It's mine. I gave you the courtesy of not calling the cops the minute I saw it, so let's not push this. You've got 3 months to figure out how to move it or dismantle it. He huffed, clearly frustrated, but he knew he didn't have a leg to stand on. 3 months, huh? Fine, but don't expect me to be happy about it. I gave him a pointed look. I'm not here to make you happy. I'm here to take back what's mine. Now it's just a matter of time. 3 months might seem generous, but I'm sticking to it. I've got plans for this place, and a rogue playground isn't going to stand in the way. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.